Hello, and welcome back to Parley. This prompt was written by vampbug. Hope you'll enjoy listening. It's about jumpstart packs. You've been working on a set of, I believe, 2 for each color, so 10 total, like half 40 card magic decks, jumpstart booster packs, to be mixed and matched together. And they all have a human type theme, but then also their own themes. So when you combine 2 of the packs, you'll get 2 colors. They both have human type themed cards that will work with each other's human cards in each pack. And then they also each have their own theme that will be only the cards from that color. Pretty cool. This is the one of the black packs and then 2 blue packs this time. Not too much else to say. Vampbug, you said I haven't worked on the jumpstart packs in a while, but let's just round it out with what I'd finished before. I've acquired some of them in paper though, and can confirm jumpstart is still fun. Yeah, I really think this idea is cool. I've been interested in cube as a concept lately, and in a lot of ways, the solution to the problem, if you see it as a problem, that is, I want to play limited Magic the Gathering, where decks get constructed kind of on the spot, but I don't want to buy more Magic the Gathering cards. I just want to kind of set it and forget it, or continue enjoying it. And I don't want to do cube because then you draft it and then I'm only playing with 2 people. One good solution, I think, is jumpstart packs. Increasingly, I am interested in cube. The way that I'm playing Commander with my group is by developing a set of Commander decks that are like pre-configured, but based on all of our preferences, and then we play from those. And so it has more of the theme of jumpstart, though it isn't mix and match. It would be pretty interesting, don't you think, to create like mix and match 2-color Commander decks? Ooh. Oh, I'm salivating at that idea. But anyway, I've just been thinking Jumpstart is very cool. As I've said in previous versions of these Parley, I'm really happy that you did these because it's pretty helpful for me too. But at the moment, I'm not working on Jumpstart myself. I'm interested in some 2-player drafting, which is another way you could deal with the cube limited thing. But this is more like sealed, which is a kind of a different environment than draft, which is cool. Let's get into each of the packs. Oh, here we go. So as I said before, we have a black one and then the 2 blue ones in the pod. And the black one is necromancer themed, so there are a lot of humans, and then there's a bit of like a mini zombie type thing, and also some bringing things back from the dead, just in general, like necromancy. Wizard type alongside human, lots of human wizards, classic. And then this one is called knowledge. The theme of this one is a like number of cards in hand. I have a lot of criticisms for this one, but I think it's pretty interesting. So we'll get to that at the end. I don't have as much to say about these 2, but I'm still interested in them. Let's get into it. So the zombie one. This is the black one. It's called Necromancer. There's a good amount of stuff that is, you bring things back from the dead. You see this one, you play it, and then you exile 2 cards from your graveyard, which lets you resurrect something, graveyard to battlefield. Though this pack itself is a little light on good necromancy targets, right? Like for a lot of the necromancy spells, the rate for that, if you can bring anything back from your graveyard to your battlefield, is usually like 4 plus, and then there are some ultra powerful things that can do it for less. And this pack doesn't have much that costs that much. In other words, you're probably not going to save mana on bringing something back to life, which is probably good for this format because that would be quite strong. A normal reanimator plan where you get stuff in the graveyard, often without having played it before, and then you bring it back, basically cheating on cost. You pay 4 mana or whatever for something, and you bring back like a 9 mana creature, that usual reanimator plan. Would easily dominate like every type of limited deck you could ever imagine, right? At this power level, I just don't, that's not a good idea in my opinion. You're not doing that here. It's more like you get to recur creatures and you get a tempo gain because you don't just put the card in the creature back in your graveyard back in your hand. You bring it directly back to the battlefield. So this will be a 5 mana 2/3 that will like come with, a 3 mana creature realistically. And you'll get perfectly fine value for your mana. It's kind of more like you draw a card and play the card immediately in practice here, which I think is a good power level balance. So in a way, this is like a weak reanimator type of strategy, but that is a good fit for these packs, in my opinion. I thought that was quite clever. On that note, I think that Malakir Rebirth is probably too strong. If you, all of what I just said, okay, yes, but if you Malakir Rebirth this card, you will win the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see these decks being able to come back from that. I just think this card is too strong. Period, really. Not even just in Jumpstart. It's just so good. If you're not familiar, folks, it's 1 mana. It's an instant. Basically, you pay 2 life, and if the creature you targeted would die this turn, you bring it back to life under its owner's control. You can't steal stuff with it. And it also has a tapped swamp on the back. Not only is it a like totally normal cost, you really pay basically no power loss in exchange for this having a land on the back. It's even still a land drop when you need it to be. This card is the actual nuts. It's also a $3.60 uncommon according to this program, so that's a whole situation. But whatever. In the sidebar, you recommended Palaka Predation. Can I easily scroll over there? Let's try. Yeah. Let's move over here for a sec. Palaka Predation as another double-sided thing. I recommended in a previous one of these having 1 of these in each pack. It should be pretty easy because there are only 10 packs, and a lot of these double-sided cards are like good enough for the power level of a lot of these packs, and they could be on theme within reason. Let's rotate this way, so I'm looking at it the right way. And here, I personally think Palaka Predation is a good choice. This is 3 mana. You look at their hand and destroy a card, but it has to have a high converted mana cost. Kind of the opposite of Kozilek's Inquisition, if you're familiar with that card. I mean, I know vampbug knows what these are, but for people spectating, yeah, I think this is cool. In this format, it's pretty good, in the sense that your opponent probably doesn't have that many bombs, and so you're taking one of the few bombs they have. Is that too strong? But it is 3 mana, which is pretty expensive to just remove 1 card from your opponent's hand. It's just you're going to be getting a card that would be like their main win condition. A lot of these packs are quite synergy focused, though. So I don't think that this type of discard will disarm an opponent's strategy, because these packs are relatively more weighted to win by synergizing a bunch of cards, rather than by having like 1 win condition or bomb. Another way to put it is the bombs in these packs are just not that bomby. They often are just like a big version of the enablers that the rest of the cards are. So I personally think this is, in a certain limited environment, this might be too strong. In these packs, I think it is not, and it is a like good effect. But Malakir Rebirth, I think, is not really beatable by most of these strategies, in this pack anyway. And if you were to put it in the other black pack, then, well, it just has to pair with something with a good enters the battlefield effect. And I just think this is too much tempo. In practice, in this set of packs, this will often be like casting Reanimate, which will definitely make you win the game on the spot. Though Young Necromancer probably is the strongest target. Let's go back over there and use my janky interface to look at that again. So I will talk a little bit more about like the other cards in the pack. Another thing that this pack does is there are a good amount of zombies, like non-human cards. This is interesting. You have a couple of zombie type enabler cards. Now, Graph Harvest, the zombies get menace, and then it can make zombies by itself. So it sort of works with itself. But there are some cards in the pack that are literally just zombies. They're already zombies. And then we have Deadly Plot. This is a kill spell, or you can resurrect fully a zombie creature card. I personally like taking the zombie type theme too far in this set of packs. I'm kind of interested in Graph Harvest as like the gentle way to add it in as a theme without going too far with it. I think a couple of things. First of all, I don't think Deadly Plot is actually that good in this pack. Like you don't, it's not very strong to resurrect a zombie in the context of this pack, and the other packs largely don't have zombies, so it would be this pack. That's just not that good, though it is instant speed. That's cool. I didn't know about this card, so it's cool to see. And then it's a kill spell, but it's basically always a kill spell, is how I feel. And 4 mana instant speed, I don't think the kill spells need to be that weak. I feel like Murder would be an okay power level. 3 mana double black instant speed kill spell. That would be like okay for these packs. Might be a little strong. I don't know. I like the idea. I like the flexibility. It's kind of a nice fit, but I kind of am in favor of reducing the number of cards that are zombies and otherwise don't fit the theme at all. They do play into the zombie type thing, but I kind of like that only affects the other human cards. So like Graph Harvest gives your zombies a benefit, which isn't too powerful. Everything getting Menace for 1 mana, but a lot of the pack isn't zombies. And then the deck's main human synergy enabler is Zathrid Necromancer. Whenever a human you control dies, you create a zombie token. I kind of like that Graph Harvest would only buff that type of zombie, and it's not that the deck is like playing a bunch of zombies. That appeals to me a bit more. Another thing is, something I like about this pack is that this card is very strong, very strong, but because the pack makes zombies often when it brings things back to life, and a lot of other packs splash some supportive cards that are not human type, this is kept somewhat in check. It doesn't just mean when anything dies, you get a 2/2 zombie and you take over the game. So I don't know. And you can see how, while I kind of favor cutting zombies, that actually makes Zathrid Necromancer stronger because you're going to put in humans to replace the zombies. So in short, I have a lot of analysis paralysis about this pack. I like it overall. I think Malakir Rebirth is too strong, but there's lots of fun human cards that are like a good power level that create zombie tokens. I like that. I'm kind of not in favor of some of the zombies. I'm just not the biggest fan. They feel a little random to me, where you could add on theme stuff if you want that. But I get their purpose. They kind of control the power of some of the other cards, and they theoretically synergize with Deadly Plot and then Graph Harvest. But I personally feel like tweaking those is what I want to see. So in particular, I don't like Diregraph Scavenger very much. And I think in a way, this is sort of an awkward card in this set because it is a like a graveyard hate card, but most of these packs that doesn't do anything in particular, so it just zaps your opponent for 2, and then it's a 2/3 with Death Touch for 4. I just don't think it's that exciting of a card in here, though I love me a zombie bear. And then Sepulture Ghoul. This is a good card in this pack, I think, because you will probably have a decent amount of bodies. A lot of the packs are synergy focused, and therefore you have a decent number of creatures already. And then this can get in for like a fine mana cost anyway. It's a 2/1 for 2. And you just sack your whole board and kill them. But also, that feels maybe a touch high power level too for this group of packs. And besides that, I don't think it's a super exciting type of card. Something that comes to mind is that there is a card that has like the zombie. You can use it as a normal spell, but then it has the zombie synergy thing if you wanted to do that. That may be like a better power level for this strategy. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's 1 mana spell. It returns a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, or 2 zombie creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. You would have to keep the zombies. Fleshbag Marauder, perfectly fine. There is that one human version of this effect that I'm kind of interested in, but we talked about the zombie-human balance already. It's tricky. You could put that card in and recur the zombie spells, and then have Zathrid Necromancer's power be quite metered. I guess that'd be the path of doing the least changes. I'm really going through a lot of details because I had a lot of thoughts about this. But in short, I definitely want to replace Malakir Rebirth, I think, with Pelakka Predation. And I'm kind of interested in putting a different zombie synergizing spell that does do something normally in this slot. Like whatever that, if you look up zombie type stuff on the internet, you'll find the spell I'm talking about very quickly. But I don't remember what it's called. I kind of favor that as an approach. But maybe another reactive or interactive card would feel better in this slot. And then, yeah, the zombie balance is tricky. I don't love some of the zombies. They feel a little... You have a lot of choices with zombie cards. I'm just looking at a few of the ones that give you other options on the side. This is interesting. You've got a 5-mana kill spell that kills a non-zombie, and then you return a zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. That's interesting. But yeah, anyway, it's tricky. I think the balance of zombies and what zombies, I kind of want more exciting zombies, or zombies that somehow play into the theme of the human part a little more, that kind of feed back in. Because I think that the lack of humans in this pack does meaningfully downgrade some of the other packs it would be paired with. So while within this pack it's probably pretty balanced, I think it might feel a little weak when combined with other packs. Finding zombies that feed back into that seems good. There are a few, I think, actually, zombie cards, or maybe Gravedigger is a human, I don't know, that are like 4 mana 2/2s, and then you put a creature from your graveyard into your hand. That seems like a good fit here. This is a classic for a reason. I'm pretty sure there's one of those that's a changeling, but we've been avoiding those, or you've been avoiding those, and I kind of like that. But I feel like, okay, fine. I'll bite. After this, I will write a note. Is Gravedigger a human? It probably is, or there's a variant like that that is either a human or a zombie, I'm sure, right? But overall, pretty satisfied. I think the zombie human balance is pretty interesting. I will say from a flavor perspective, I kind of like the zombies feel like human zombies. You know, they aren't always, magic doesn't really do that. But I kind of get that flavor kind of works for me. And I think Necromancer is like a classic, you know, black mana aligned human in Magic. So I really liked that. Bringing me nicely to the Wizards pack. You gotta do human wizards. I mean, come on, right? This pack I like overall. There's a good amount of pretty elegant, like wizard type support that is pretty straightforward, like not too powerful. I like Wizard's Retort in particular. You know, it will be a counter spell, usually 2 mana, counter any spell, but it is 2 blue mana, which matters a lot more in this format where you have very little color fixing. So I feel like this is probably okay. And of course, it's also a little less powerful because your opponent isn't playing like an 8 mana bomb that wins the game immediately, which makes counterspell effects more powerful. You know, you're not countering something as strong, so it's like probably okay. But yeah, there's a good amount of counter spells. This pack has this interesting theme of tapping. There's a sub theme in this pack that is things being tapped. You can. There's a lot of clever little tricks in here. So it happens that a lot of the wizard stuff cares about that. There's a lot of wizards that are on type that like care about tapping or have tap abilities. Even something like Prodigal Sorcerer is probably a wizard because nothing is easy in Magic. That's that 3 mana 1/1 that pings stuff, does 1 damage to things when it taps. You could maybe put that in. This pack also has a good amount of off-type creatures, and there's more in the maybe board. And this is a place where I'm not personally a fan. They support the tap theme, but I feel like because there are so many cards that support like human, wizard, and tapping all together, I would challenge this pack to not use cards that do not fit those themes. It's really cool to have 3 overlapping themes, and they like almost all the cards to all 3 themes. And I personally want to push you to do that. You found some pretty good ones. This is a super deep cut. What the heck is this card? You pay X, which is the creature's power, and tap it to make something unblockable. What a weird thing. What a delightful card. Leaden Fists, 3/3 with, you know, at instant speed, but the creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. You can use it as control. You kind of stun your opponent's creatures, or you put it on your creatures and use the untapping effects in this pack to untap the creature so it can attack your opponent. So weird. Such an interesting, like, a tabletop role-playing game wizard thing. You make yourself buff, but you're still a wizard, and so there's this kind of finicky spell way that you're doing a lot of damage. Ooh, very crispy. From like a broader role-playing perspective, I really get why this is like a wizard pack thing. It doesn't have anything that says wizard synergy on it, but I get the feeling. I really like this. Retraction Helix is pretty interesting. Refocus is a nice filler, excuse me. I like this, and the power level is like low enough that it's nothing crazy. You could just untap a creature that attacked and use it as a combat trick too. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Super elegant. Urza's rebuff as well. You can get your creatures tapped to like trigger things that happen when they get tapped. I was a little worried by the tapping your own stuff theme is only present on or like becomes tapped is only on Moonfolk Puzzlemaker. And I think Inspired Sprite, while a wizard themed card, otherwise feels pretty unrelated. Again, I feel like there's so much wizard support. I want to push for this to be something that is a human wizard. in some way. But that's just me. Overall, yeah, I was pretty excited by this one. I have a minor thing, which is that Vantress Transmuter is a card I think is really cool. But it does mean you need to have the cursed roll token, and these packs are so far getting away with having like not that many bits, you know, like tokens and stuff. I really like to have the physical token when I play with cards like this. You may not care, you may be perfectly fine just including it. And this is kind of a battle box type set of packs, so I suppose it's easy enough to just include one. Yeah, it's not a big deal, and this is a cool card. It's a fun way to kind of shapeshift something to a smaller size. That being said, that takes me to the knowledge pack, which I have some complaints about, but where I'm going to go with this is that I think it would be fun to retool this as like a shape-shifting themed pack, for which Vantress Transmuter is arguably a better fit here. And there are just so many human wizards, you could easily do without it in the wizard pack. Let me describe why I'm not the hugest fan of this one. Well, I mean, I like it, but I think it has some problems in the set. And then the concept I have. I'm against this enough that I felt like if I'm going to say I don't think this concept is a good fit at all, I need to give you another idea. And so I thought of one, which I hope you'll humor me with. And if you would like a future parlay, by the way, that is me going over, like I could make the pack that I'm going to suggest, I would be happy to do that, of course. That's totally within, I'll just make it during the parlay and talk about it as I go. That would be a super fun parlay to do. In short, I don't like this one because I think that card draw is just too strong as a theme. I don't think you can do card draw as a theme in this environment without, like, there's no way this won't win. That's how I feel, I guess. A lot of the cards you picked are of like medium power, so that's like its own thing, but I don't feel that's the primary issue. I think the primary issue is just that in a group of packs that is all about synergy between cards, being able to gain as significant an amount of card advantage as this pack lets you get, I don't see that not making you win. That just seems too broadly good. It's kind of like having a pack where even though it doesn't directly by name synergize with the theme of your other pack, whatever this is paired with is going to get a massive boost because you're going to draw the pieces for that pack's plan so much more often, because the decks are so small. If you draw 2 or 3 more cards deep, you're likely to get like that piece that puts you over the edge to having a really nice group of synergies. Yes, some of the card draw is just like a lot of card draw, sure. 3 cards deep is a lot. Now, this isn't a particularly strong card, sure. It does have the flexibility of bouncing 2 creatures, also a really big tempo swing in this format. But drawing 3 is pretty deep card draw. And you could, of course, downgrade this to just be you draw 2 deep. Deduce is an interesting one. I like this as a choice in that it's not much tempo. This card does an interesting thing where since time immemorial, blue mages have wanted to draw 2 cards at instant speed so they can keep up counter magic, and they kind of want to draw the 2 cards to gain card advantage when they kept counter magic up, but they didn't get to counter something. And they want to draw those 2 cards for like around the same cost as a counter spell, like 2 or 3 mana. Which, of course, an instant speed spell that draws you 2 for 3 mana would be busted. I think that's cracked. That's way too strong. And there have been a few over the years that have proven to be way too strong. This card has an interesting solution. Well, you only pay 1 card and you draw 2 now. You draw 1 now for 2 mana, but then you get a clue, which is an artifact that lets you draw 1 for 2. So in total, you pay 4 mana. You can split it up into 2 chunks, 2 and 2 mana, and you only pay 1 total card. So eventually, over the course of probably 2 turns, you are able to draw 2, and you are able to fit the mana into the amount you kept up for a counterspell, just not in 1 turn. This is a very cool card, aside from this pack generally. I think on its own, this probably is like an acceptable power level as well. And this pack does have 2 instants for you to keep up to, use this alongside. In fact, there's probably more stuff that I'm not remembering off the top of my head that has flash. Yeah, I was going to say there's some creature in here that has flash. But in the pack as a whole, I feel like this is good enough glue that the cards that care about the number of cards in your hand will become too strong with the aid of this effect. Too strong for this format, anyway. Even just having something like Sir Eleonora that's probably like a decent 3 or 4/4 and draws you a card when it comes into play and is a human, and also has ward too, so it's like mostly immune to most of this group's of decks removal, is pretty strong. Even if little support, I think this would be a pretty good bomb. Minas Tirith Garrison is similar. I hadn't seen this card. Pretty strong. Unfortunately, this is, I believe, this pack's human synergy card. So were you to change or like power down the card draw theme, you would probably need to look at cutting this, and then there is no, immediate human synergy card to go with it. And there might be one that you could find. You could try to power this down. You could make Read the Tides dig you less deep. You could remove the cares about number of cards in hand creatures, or find less powerful ones, which may or may not exist. You may disagree that Sir Eleonora, for example, is like too strong. That's quite subjective. I don't exactly think that. But I think this is a problematic theme. And furthermore, I feel like the lore density, vampbug, I'm being demanding here, but we've talked about a lot of these packs, I hope that's okay, is just not enough. Like, I want a more specific theme, I guess is how I feel. It also feels like the wizard pack. It's not just because of overlapping a card, that's not a big deal. And I actually kind of want to keep Vantress Transmuter in this pack, or something like it. So I will now, for the end of the parlay, tell you my idea for a theme to replace this one. And it's kind of inspired by a few of the things in this pack that I got excited by. But yeah, I could go on. I won't. I've made my shtick. I think this is an interesting idea. You picked cool cards. This is a super interesting card. If you cast 2 or more spells in a turn, probably by card drawing, you can tap it to make a 2/2, which is with Vigilance. Very strong. I also think that's just a bit strong. But it is a very cool card. I could go on. I won't for now. I will instead talk about the theme I have as a replacement idea. Though it might be a little wizardy. Maybe you'll decide to do it with that pack. But anyway, it's basically like Blue's niche of not exactly shape-shifting, but Blue has this design space of transforming things. They have this thing in Magic that I really like, where each color has its own way of dealing with a threat. Because creatures are so central to the game, each color kind of has to have a way to deal with a creature on the board, but for some colors, it would be more powerful than others to be able to just kill the creature. Black can just pay usually only 2 mana, often 1 mana, to just Yeetus Deletus a dude from existence. And red, if the creature is small enough, can just lightning bolt a man. But those colors don't have as much ability to destroy other permanent types, of course. Green, blue, and white then have like more complicated ways of destroying a creature because they're so good at interacting with things other ways. Blue can counterspell stuff. Green and white can terrorize your non-creature permanents pretty easily. And so white tends to be the next goodest. You'll just straight up kill a creature for 1 mana, but your opponent gets compensation because that's fair, and that's part of white's design space. They gain life equal to the creature's toughness. They get a land in exchange. You get the idea. You know. And green will often fight the creature. Green can directly kill your creature, but only with one of its creatures, which I've always really liked. Blue has the weakest one because it has the strongest other interaction, counterspells. Blue's way of you just kill a creature is sometimes 1 or 2 mana, but it's usually you like transmogrify the creature into something generically unthreatening, like a 3/3 frog or a 1/1 snake or whatever. And I think that theme idea, alongside Evolve Simic cards that have the Evolve mechanic, they grow as you play bigger creatures alongside them. I think that'll play well with other packs. And then things like Delver of Secrets, the human niche of being an experimenter type card that evolves over time, would create a theme, a loose theme, an ideological theme, if not like a type theme, like Wizard or Necromancer or whatever, that I think would be really fun. I think there's enough support for cards like that. You wouldn't have trouble finding stuff. It would just be a different type of theme than the, subtype, like Wizards, like a class type theme. And some of the packs have already done that. I have it on good authority that you would be amenable to this type of theme because some of the packs have already done it. I think there's good support for it. A concern that I mentioned a minute ago is that as I think about it, a lot of the cards that do the type of thing that I'm suggesting, I'm pretty sure they're wizards. And so you could kind of moosh both of these packs together and turn it into that pack, and then you need another blue pack concept. But I don't know. That would be something I would consider if I were to do a parlay making that pack, or if you go on to make that pack. How does it have a relationship to like how much is that just a different version of the wizard pack? If you were to make a restriction on your format that you cannot play two of the same color pack, that is, you cannot pair the two blue color packs together. I don't know if you do that the way you're playing it. I would recommend doing that personally. If you did that, then arguably this isn't an issue. There's an insane amount of blue wizards that are humans in Magic. Just do two versions of the wizard pack, you know? I like the one you made already, so you could just do two. But that, I don't know, there's an inelegance to that to me, right? I sort of want another version of blue's, you know, human type thing. Just off the top of my head, this doesn't solve the problem at all, but just to be annoying, I'm pretty sure there's a good amount of blue, like blue necromancers, the Stitchers from Innistrad. I have a feeling there would be enough of that type of card. Huh. Yeah. Anyway, so those are my thoughts for now. I will also keep thinking about, that would be something I would probably include in a further discussion about what to do for a shapeshifter or transmogrifying themed blue pack. I would probably need to give some consideration to, okay, yeah, but like, what is the other theme? If you basically just make a wizard pack, Sandy, you can't just do that. You know, we need another theme, or at least ideas for another theme. I don't know off the top of my head. What other like human in blue themes are there? Artificers, I guess, is an obvious one. Like making artifacts, or there's a maybe growing amount of blue artifact creature things. There probably aren't very many mono blue artifact creature humans though. But anyway, there might be something there. I don't know. And that seems like it wouldn't be too strong. The power level of that pack would be boosted. An artifact creature themed blue human pack would be boosted by the fact that the artifacts presumably mostly do not require much colored mana, if any. And so it would kind of do the opposite thing of the Necromancer pack, where a lot of those cards are zombies and thus only synergize with the Necromancer cards and not the other pack's cards. An artifact-focused blue pack would have some cards that, because they cost no colored mana, are a little better in the context of another pack, which would boost the power a little. That's cute. I don't know. And I feel like not many of the other packs are gonna be able to do like an interesting artifact thing, you know what I mean? Like artifact is just a classic theme. And so maybe if you want to get that in, blue is probably the color to do it in, I would imagine. I don't know, that's a thought, that's an idea. Anyway, I hope this was a helpful way to look at it. I enjoyed these packs a lot. I had a lot to say about them. And as I've said before, I just really like this project because it's kind of the similar thing that I'm doing right now. So it pushes my buttons a bit. I hope that my excitement didn't prevent good discussion. I still had a lot to say, but I hope I packaged it in a way that was useful. Thanks very much for asking for another parlay, vampbug. Looking forward to the ones in the future.